It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
Around the world today, it's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhan, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned. And we have Mr. Ed back on the boards today.
Hello. Good to be back.
You know, I kind of feel like I don't appreciate you enough, Ed, because when you're not here, it's never the same.
Well, I miss you guys, you know, and I got to tell you, I thought, I had a little bout and not bout with booze or anything. Sean might suggest, with
one time. One time.
Anyways, I had a little sickness I had to take care of, and I got to tell you, getting my strength back. I thought of you a few times because, damn it, in the middle of the night, I tripped, and I said, "Damn it, Linda."
Prevent
the fall.
Prevent that fall. It can happen to anybody.
And I think it happened 3 times in the first couple of nights.
Oh my goodness!
Just you catch yourself shuffle, not stepping but shuffling,
right?
Sliding your feet.
Yep.
Instead of picking your foot up.
I'll have to tell you, when I went to Egypt with my daughter and I fell the first day I was there. After that, I marched.
Yeah.
I marched the entire time I was there because I was afraid.
That's funny because the first night I said, pick your damn knees up. So every time I'd step, I'd pick my knees up. I would look at my knees, Yeah. Damn it. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad you're here today.
All's good. I prevented the fall just by, sheer luck. But took care of those things,
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
I know we joke, but it's a big deal. It is a very, very big deal. Things can go south in a hurry.
With one fall.
Yeah, with one fall, absolutely.
I stapled the dog to the floor and took care of that problem. So it's just kidding.
Was he like a cushion to help break your fall?
Don't move. He's used.
I see. He's a moving roadblock.
Well,
I got it.
He sees me coming. Here's a big, massive thing. I better get out of the way.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah.
Well, I had to actually get a little light up collar for my dog because in my bedroom, my carpeting is dark and my dog is black. So I don't see him there sometimes. So I got a little light up thing, so at least I can see where he is.
Find where that movable roadblock is. Yeah. He'll take you down. Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard it happening before.
Yes.
Yeah. In all seriousness, sure.
Yeah. So you know who that voice is. That's Sean Scott,
That would
who's
be
here
me.
the first Friday of every month.
Yep. I'm the first Friday guy.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here. And
me
Lynn's
too.
here today.
Yeah, Lynn's finally back. I thought I was going to have to replace you, Lynn. I know, not that you can really do that.
He
I'm
wanted your chair when I came in today. I noticed that.
I'm angling for your job here,
Yeah. She's here.
How much you pay me for it?
Talk to me later. I'm sure we can work up a deal. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy. So I want to give a shout out to our newest listeners. We have Nancy in St. Pete. We have JJ in Largo, and we have Paulina in Tampa.
Well, welcome.
So, ladies.
Because I don't know, JJ. Is that a?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could
So
go
I
either
don't
way.
know either.
I
Could
don't
go
say
either way.
ladies. I say welcome because I'm in charge.
Welcome, friend. Yes, you are in charge of that.
Two
like I always
jobs
say.
I have: bring the water and
poke me.
yeah.
Okay, so if I bring you something better than water, do I get her job?
Mate.
It'll look just like water, I swear to God.
I got good stuff to bring.
It's a competition now.
We have to talk about that. I kind of like this.
I
Go
know.
ahead, next.
We're fighting
Next,
over
next.
it.
It's like a little volley over here.
That's all right, Diane, and I'll go out and drink Red Bull.
Right, yes. Yeah, also joining us in the
vodka.
studio, not on mic, is Diane Madison. She's
You're Diane.
yes, she's making sure that we all tread that narrow path.
Well, somebody has to be around to keep you in line.
That's what I've heard.
In more ways than one.
Sean, do you know your earphones look a little silly?
I know. I don't know why.
That one's
Yeah,
backwards.
hold on. See, see. Yeah, does I have to flip it or see? No, I don't know how to fix it.
Oh,
I know it not only looks silly, it feels silly.
it looks okay now.
No, it doesn't.
That's weird.
Okay. Next time I'm bringing my own headphones. That's it. I'm not doing this
I
anymore.
really think that the amount of time you're here, you should have your own headphones, really.
like Lynn.
Yeah, I know. I noticed. Yeah, very nice, very fetching. Yeah,
Well,
good
matches
color.
my pants.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, me, I'm just kind of like, I don't really care. Good to go, put it on.
Matches your shirt.
Kind of. Well,
There
you
you
know, it's black and white. And Diane's here today, so you know that's supposed to be black and white. And I thought this morning when I picked you up
That I would wear it.
that you
I
would wear
went
black and white.
crazy today.
Did not get the memo.
No,
Well,
no,
you
I
know what
just
the thing is?
decided
It's another
I'm going
strike.
to be put on my cross.
I have never asked somebody like, what color are you wearing or what are you wearing? That's just not my thing. But 90% of the times when I pick her up to come to the show, we match. But I think that's just because we have similar tastes.
Well, I tell you about 99% of the time when I walk out of the house with Diane, we match.
Well, she's dressing you.
Well, there is that. But still, do we always have to match? I mean,
but you
really?
don't wear the same
It's
color
just,
shirt,
it's
do you?
black. Oh, yeah. It's black and white day. It's
Oh,
balloon
black and
tan
white
day.
I love it.
You know.
No,
What-
I don't like when I see a couple with an orange. Each have orange
Oh,
shirts
we're
on.
not twins.
Well,
Yeah.
orange not.
Well,
baby,
any
but-
no.
I love the
is
black and
all
white
right.
stuff.
Yeah,
You should
that's
see the red,
fine.
white, and blue day. Oh, we are like
Oh,
two
I like
flags
that.
walking down the street.
I
It is like
like that.
crazy. It is super patriotic.
I like a
yeah.
4th of July shirt, though.
But every other day?
No. What if you had to dress yourself? What
I
would it
don't
look
know.
like?
I don't know.
You'd have on a white shirt that buttoned up the
Trust
front.
me, it wouldn't be as beautiful and as handsome as you are now. All right, so
All right, now
caregiver
we've got all that
contest.
out of the way.
So caregiver contest, which is always running 24/7 on my website. Go to lindaburhans.com. Nominate somebody from the contest. The next contest winner is going to be selected on May 30th. Every person that gets nominated receives a gift. It's just something small that I send them in the mail. And they're just like so excited that somebody even nominated them or cared about them or asked a question about them. And on May 30th, what we do is we put all the names in the hat and we pick out one winner because you're all a winner to us.
All the winner.
And you're going to get a big gift basket with a whole bunch of gift certificates and a massage and a facial and some books and some really good stuff.
Do we have a competition for like people who help caregivers? Like, you know, your friendly elder law attorney found down the street or something
No.
like that? God,
No,
I want a
we're
basket.
counting on that guy to be chipping into the
That
basket.
basket
actually.
sounds really good. Oh, yes, of course.
But yeah, it's a really good thing. So Sean, Sean
So
is
do
our
we have a winner yet?
what? No. Well, we have till May 30th. Well, I'll probably pick the winner the week before, and hopefully they'll be able to be either live on the show
Oh, that'd be great.
or
Yeah, how cool. How cool.
May 30th. It was kind of cool.
As long as it's not the beginning of the month, because Sean doesn't want his stuff being taken,
Oh, my,
his time being taken up.
oh
Well,
my gosh.
But you know what? I looked this morning and it was kind of fun looking at the photos of some of the past people over the years that won the contest. You know, most of them are not caregivers anymore. They were caregivers then. And you just see the delight in it that someone thought about me. You know, it's just like when you have a baby, everybody knows your baby's name, but they don't know your name. How's the baby? How's the baby? How's the baby? You're like, hey,
How's that baby doing?
all right, no baby without me.
Well, yeah, I think there's gonna be some fun things in there from us. We haven't talked too much about it, but I'm thinking about putting like maybe a $475 estate plan in that basket.
Well, that would be fabulous.
So that,
Oh, I'm signing up.
so that
Yeah.
well, Lynn, I mean, come on, girl, you better look at you. Seriously, you don't have much time left.
I
You
know.
So
I'm
there's
you know
joking.
what?
I'm joking.
But once I'm gone, doesn't matter, does it?
Well, there it is.
all right. So one of the questions today I want to ask you today is: so we have a young couple
Okay.
who own their own home, who are giving birth to their second child shortly,
Oh wow, good.
and have no documents.
Okay.
Okay, what kind of documents do those?
You know, the
People
birth of
need.
the birth of your kid is always some sort of motivating factor for a lot of
Right.
people. I mean, they feel that they haven't really truly become an adult until they brought somebody else into the world, and so they now want to start what we call adulting, right?
Yeah.
Well, the birth of your kid is a great excuse, but you probably should have done some of these things beforehand, actually. But we get a little bit more serious when there's this new life, right?
Okay.
So as a minimum basis with that type of a situation, it's really for everybody that's listening. The minimum set of documents from my elder law attorney perspective is you want to have somebody that can act on your behalf if you can't, and that's a power of attorney, a durable power of attorney for financial issues. Then you want a medical equivalent of that, which would be a healthcare surrogate. That's what we call it in Florida. But in a way of looking at it, it's really a power of attorney for healthcare decisions. So that somebody can speak to your doctor if you can't also very, very important. And then the third piece there, just to make sure that we know who you want to be in charge if you leave us, if you die, who should be in charge of wrapping up your affairs, and where do you want your stuff to go?
And maybe taking care of my kids.
Well, that's the thing with the issue with
God forbid, my husband and I get in a car accident.
I agree. That's where this kid comes into play, that normally, if one of the parents dies, the other parent will continue, obviously, to be the parent. But if we lose both parents, you have an opportunity inside of your will to nominate a guardian to be the guardian for that child. So you actually get to pick. So if you wanted your sister or your mom or your best friend or whoever, you can choose and put that in your will to make sure that there's a guardian for that kid. Then you can go to kind of a next step, if you want to be a little more sophisticated, is that you can layer in a trust for the benefit of that child. So that if the parent or the parents are dead, that instead of that money being managed by the court and by a guardian, you could basically have it flow into a trust for the benefit of that child.
Which makes sense.
It does. And it's a lot more powerful as far as what you can do with that money and how you can use it. It also avoids all the hassle of having to go through the court system and having to ask the judge every time you want to do something with that money. And it also allows you to stretch out the distribution of that money longer. Instead of that kid getting it when he's 18,
right,
he might be able to pull it out to maybe 21, 24, 30, hold it for education purposes, very specific issues, which you can't do if you just have a naked guardianship. So bare minimum, power of attorney, healthcare surrogate, and a will with a guardianship provision. Consider adding a trust for the kid.
So one of the reasons I asked this question is for my granddaughter.
Right.
And she's telling me all the time, I'm going to go see Sean. I'm going to go see Sean. They're young.
Yes. You know who also says that? This person sitting across from me. Lynn. Hello.
But
what do I got to do? Make you dinner? I mean, gosh.
But they're young, and then they get a little extra money and they want to do something on the house or whatever. So I told them, baby Delilah's being born in June. I said, I'm going to buy some stuff for Delilah. Usually I go over the top, you get a dress or whatever.
Sure. Right.
I said, and you're going to see Sean. You're going to see Sean. This is your gift.
So if I have a baby, you'll pay for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, keep trying.
That's the deal. After she gives birth, they're coming to see you.
Problems with that.
Well, you know what? I want them to be safe.
Yeah.
No, and
this is important
we
stuff.
joke around a little bit and everything for sure, but in all seriousness, these documents, especially the power of attorney and a healthcare surrogate, the week that you turn 18, you should have those documents in place. Not when you're having a kid or not when you're 30, 50, 60, or 80.
But I don't think 18. People think about documents until they're 40 or something.
I understand that, but you're an adult, okay? Yeah. And if something happens to you and you're incapacitated, then you need somebody that can step in and manage your affairs. Now, I know we've probably told you the story about my son. When he was 18, he came into the office and obviously his dad's the lawyer, so it was not hard to do, but here, sign this. But within the next 12 months, he ended up upside down in a tree being cut out of the car by the fire department and then air flighted to the Fort Pierce Hospital, where he was basically in a coma, a broken neck, was unable to speak and talk anything about his situation. And I'm his healthcare surrogate, his medical power of attorney. And so now, by the way, you've never seen somebody get from St. Petersburg to Fort Pierce in less time. Yeah. I think there was jets that were behind me. So, but at the same time, I was able to come in and interface with the healthcare professionals and deal with his treatment and his course of, what we were going to do. So super important, regardless of your age. There is a joke I tell about, a lot of people have some reluctance, not a joke, but kind of a humorous insight, is a lot of people have reluctance to do these things. Oh, I'll get to it. Oh my God, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. Oh, it's going to cost me some money, blah, blah, blah. And so you put it off and you put it off and you put it off, which you should not, by the way, do. So I have a deal, and I give everybody the same deal, is that if you come up and you show up in my office the day before, you lose your mind, you become incapacitated, you get hit by the truck, whatever, I'll do your documents for no charge. Yeah. Okay, it's free. The only catch, you got to see me the day before you become incapacitated. Also, same deal with your will. Yeah, same day before you die, will's free.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so get your documents in order, please.
It's not hard to do. Just get her done, man, and you'll feel better about it. It's
just like you have your life insurance policy and your health insurance and your homeowner's insurance and stuff. This is your...
Let me tell you how bad this procrastination is. Yeah. Okay, so back in the day when I first started my practice, I was probably 3 or 4 or 5 years in, And I was going to speak at an Alzheimer's conference over in the Tampa Convention Center. There's 400 people there, right? And one of my main topics that day was going to be discussing the importance of having an incapacity plan and what we're talking about right now. So I'm just going to be preaching this whole thing to 300 or 400 people. So at that, I was at kind of our table outside in the conference area, and my staff surrounded me, and they had an intervention. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, here. And I'm like, what? You need to sign this. Sign what? Your power of attorney. Shoemaker and shoes. Okay. I make shoes all day long. At that stage did not have my own power of attorney in place. This is how horrible it can be. I know, bad. I'm coming clean here. Absolutely. We all make mistakes. And I'm telling you, it's really easy to blow this off, including the guy that's telling you not to blow it off.
Yeah.
They literally had an intervention. They're like, sign this. You're not going to go talk to these 300 or 400 people about this and not have one yourself. I was like, oh, come on, guys. Can we do this later? True story, though.
It's true. Story. You know what? And it's all about practice what you're preaching. You know,
Absolutely.
My grandson is 12 years old, and he had a situation with someone recently, and he knew he had to see this person and wasn't so happy about seeing them. And I said, you know what? You're going to be in a big room. There's going to be a lot of other people there. You don't need to hang out with that person. You know, you could walk away and everything. And I said, just kill them with kindness.
Kill them with kindness. Yes.
Well, later on that day, we're going somewhere and that person is there and I don't want to see that person.
Oh, no.
And I say to my grandson, can you just bring this in for me? I'm not going to come in.
Right.
And he looks at me and he goes, practice what you preach.
So did you go in?
Kill her with kindness.
He guilted you and you had to go in.
Yes, but
good on you.
It's okay.
Motivation.
You know what? He was listening.
I hear you. Yeah.
So, that was a really good thing. All right. Our next question for today is, so this person, we had a long conversation about this. Well, she did. Can you please explain about the 5-year look back on Medicaid? Because she has a granddaughter or some niece or something who's getting married, and she wants to give her like 10 grand.
Sure, understand.
And she's like, if I give that to her, and is it going to make a problem to me, or should I just pay for the caterer directly?
Interesting. Yeah. Well, let's get a baseline.
Yeah.
So, when we're talking about public benefits, and the reason why that's important, just as a kind of a footnote, is that is more than likely how you're going to be paying for the cost of your care in a nursing home or in an assisted living facility. The cost of care in a nursing home, $12,000 a month. None of us have the ability to really do that. If you do it for very long, you're not going to have much money. You're going to have zero left in your bank account. So one of the fallbacks is using Medicaid to pay for the cost of that nursing home. It's kind of fundamental and really, for all intents and purposes, the only actual game in town. So you need to qualify for this program to have them pay. And one of the big no-nos, and one of the things that you can do that can disqualify you for this benefit, is to give stuff away. Medicaid says you can't do that. If you do give something away.
And people, please listen to this, because I'm sure a lot of you don't have any idea about this.
There's a lot of confusion on this exact issue.
I can give my niece $5,000.
No. So the rule is, again, I talk about the Medicaid Bible. The first commandment in the Medicaid Bible is, thou shalt not give your assets away. The penalty for doing that is disqualification for the program. You don't get Medicaid if you give your stuff away. Yeah. So that's a really bad result.
You're really hurting yourself.
So then there's this 5-year thing. Everybody kind of knows something about it. They don't oftentimes actually know exactly what it is. Some people think, 5 years, if I didn't do anything, if I didn't plan ahead 5 years, I'm kind of screwed and I can't get Medicaid. That is not what it says. Okay. The 5-year rule is what's called a look back period. And what Medicaid's doing is they're looking back in time to see if you violated that. So
they're going to look at my bank statements?
Yeah, not only going to look at your bank statements, they're going to actually ask you. And they're going to say, hey, did you give anything away in the last 5 years?
Okay.
And this is not a good time to lie. Yeah. All right. Because
giving something away. No time's a good time to lie.
Well, there's that one time. Honey, sorry, I don't know what her name was. So kidding. So the idea here is that, giving something away and lying about it is actually a felony. But giving something away is not a crime. It just disqualifies you for Medicaid. Giving something away and lying about it, that's That it is criminal. That's a felony
Yeah.
issue. So we don't want to do that. You don't want to give things away. And if you give anything away in the last 5 years, it's going to hurt you. It's going to disqualify you. So that's 60 months. If you give something away 61 months ago, you don't have to tell them about it and it doesn't hurt you. So literally, if you gave $1 million away 5 years and a month before you applied for Medicaid benefits, it wouldn't hurt you.
But you don't know when you're going to have to apply most of the time.
Exactly the point. So here's the deal. If you're relatively healthy, you're in your 70s and you want to give 10 grand away to your grandkid, you're probably okay with that because it's, I'm just guessing.
85,
but you get a little older and now the statistical likelihood of you going into a nursing home becomes much more prevalent, and it makes me a little nervous. Or make it worse, let's say you are in your 70s, but you have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease,
or whatever,
which is highly predictive to going into care. So the last thing I want you to do is give your stuff away. So generally, don't do it. Can do it if you're younger and you think you're going to be lucky. The older and sicker you are, definitely not a good idea. And here's the cool thing about it. The final analysis, though, if you want to do that and you're concerned about the negative effect on your eligibility for these benefits, come see somebody like me. And I will show you how to move those assets to that grandkid in a way that Medicaid will not disqualify you from Medicaid benefits. So I will get you there for sure. And a classic example of this is, and I've had this happen more often than you might think, is I have a client, and let's say husband has Alzheimer's disease, still at home. We know we're going to be needing Medicaid in the future, but they have committed to making X amount of dollars a month contribution to their church, like $500 a month, which is fine. And they also, this is actually a real case, they had also committed to making a $30,000 capital contribution to their church. So they were going to do it. And I said, you can't do it because he's got Alzheimer's. He's probably going to be in a nursing home within the next year. And we're going to need to qualify for Medicaid to pay that $12,000 a month bill. And right now you're shooting your foot off by giving this money to the church. Don't do this. And they're like, well, sorry, Sean, we're not going to listen to you. I'm like, okay.
right.
So what we ended up doing in that case is I said, let me give you a workaround here. So if you're not going to not do it, then let me do it in a way where Medicaid won't hurt you, where you won't make Medicaid mad. All right. And so what we ended up doing is I moved the money in a way from them to their child in a way that Medicaid is not mad about. In other words, they won't disqualify us. And then the child turned around and made the contributions on the parents' behalf.
Church doesn't care how they get
they
it.
don't care how they get it. And your niece or grandchild doesn't care how they get it.
Right.
But consider looping somebody like me in if you have some indicating or risk factors where this nursing home or assisted living thing is in your future.
You know what? They have you to talk to. They get a free consultation. People don't know all the. That's your job to know the law.
That I'll make for you myself, my own little hands. Yeah,
but you know what? It's your job to know the law. It's not their job. It's their job to know who they're supposed to call.
Correct.
So what is your phone number?
Yes, 727-539-0181. Call today.
And now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners, because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Are you getting older, or are you taking care of somebody who is? You know, getting older creates new problems you probably never imagined. One of the big ones is, how do you pay for care? Care in your home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home. Did you know that nursing home care in our community can cost up to $12,000 per month? For the last 33 years, our office has helped families access benefits, including Medicaid, VA, and PACE, to help pay for the cost of long-term care. Regardless of what your assets are or what your income is, you can qualify for these benefits. Proper planning and guidance are absolutely necessary to avoid being wiped out. Let us help. If you are in care or heading in that direction, we can help solve that problem. Take action now to obtain benefits to pay for the cost of care. Here are the 4 things that you need to do. 1, get a new power of attorney. Your old one probably isn't good enough. Get a healthcare surrogate and a living will. 3, get an estate plan that will not disqualify you from benefits. And 4, get a plan to qualify for Medicaid, PACE, or VA benefits to pay for the long-term care costs. Call us today for a free consultation, 727-539-0181, or go to flmedicaid.com and download our free book on Medicaid and planning for long-term care. I'm Sean Scott. I'm here to help.
Guaranteed to make you laugh through your tears, Linda Burhan's book, Good Night and God Bless, is filled with humor and heartfelt inspiration to aid anyone facing the challenge of caring for a loved one at the end of life. Her story offers hope for human strength and understanding of weaknesses during a difficult time. Life doesn't normally prepare us to become a loved one's caregiver. When it happens, it's usually sudden. A diagnosis of an illness, age-related frailty, dementia, and life suddenly is anything but normal. And because we don't even know what we don't know, where do we turn to for help or guidance? In Connecting Caregivers, Answers to the Questions You Didn't Know You Needed to Ask, Linda offers information, education, and inspiration from her own experience and from experts whose advice, practical tools, and personal stories will empower and guide you. Make sure to add these inspiring books to your collection today. Available on Amazon.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we're back. So before we have more conversation with Sean, there's a couple of things I want to do. You're at the library today,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Going to be doing a live seminar with on Medicaid and how to use it to protect your life savings from the cost of care.
And that's at the Largo Library at
Largo,
2:30?
2:30 to 4. Yep.
And then Seminole Monday?
Seminole 2 to 4, and then Palm Harbor, I think, on Wednesday. Palm Harbor Library, Seminole Library, and Largo Library. We like the libraries because it's a nice, easy place to do these.
Well, it's a comfortable place for people.
Place, absolutely.
And that's where people go for knowledge.
Yep, exactly.
I would like a library. I always like a book. I just like the smell of the book, the feel of the book, the whole.
The one thing that we don't do is kind of interesting because attorneys and some brokers and people, they'll do seminars, right? And they'll take you to dinner and you'll go to Bascom's or something. And so it's a seminar and a thing. And in my situation, the only thing that I don't feed your stomach. I feed your mind.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And that's really the most important thing,
and
because that's what you're going for to a seminar for. Otherwise, you must go to the buffet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the cool thing about it is you get to come and we interact and we interface with each other, and we have the ability to ask questions and talk. It's in a very stress-free environment. It doesn't cost you anything to come and do it. Actually, you get my book that I wrote. Normally, if you're going to buy it, it's $20 on Amazon. Yeah. But you come to the seminar and you get the book for free.
And you get to ask a question.
And you get to ask questions, and it's all low stress and very, very informative.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't tell you, we're going to probably within the next month or so, we're going to be launching our virtual webinar. Exactly. Webinars. So very much like today, but instead of being on the radio, you'll be able to register for it, much like the conference. And we come in, and for an hour and a half, I present, and you have the ability through the computer to ask questions and have the same interaction. And you don't even have to leave your house.
And you know what? Yeah. Just like with the conference, that makes it so much easier.
So much easier. Exactly.
Because I don't have to get dressed up. I don't have to find someone to take care of my loved one. 100%. I don't have to find a parking spot.
And since that makes so much sense. I mean, finally, you think, and I've been practicing law for 35 years, and I'm not what you call a tech ignorant person. How long did it take me to finally do this?
Yeah.
A long time. But you encouraged me, actually. I mean, in many ways with the conference.
These are the gifts of COVID.
Exactly. And if Linda can do a caregiver conference, Sean Scott should be able to do an hour and a half long webinar, for God's sake.
Me and him.
Well, it keeps it real. Linda. Keeps it real.
So speaking about the conference.
Yes. Tell us more.
It's this week. I can't believe it's
so
Tuesday.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's May 6th, 7th, and 8th. If you haven't registered yet, you still have the opportunity. ConnectingCaregiversConference.com. We start out with Liz Clutie, who is a fabulous dementia coach, and she's going to talk about the dementia crisis, overcoming stigma and being prepared, because you know what? There is a lot of stigma around dementia, unfortunately.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
Oh,
people don't
that's
mind saying to you, "My mom has cancer,"
right.
but nobody wants to say, "My mom has dementia."
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, and that's that whole mental health thing, right? In so many ways, you can have a horrible disease that's killing you, and all of these issues, like you say, like cancer is a great example. But we have the hardest time to say, yeah, and he's got this problem with his head.
Yeah.
And we just can't get over. I don't know why, but that's definitely there.
And so many different things. So last week we had Voices of Hope for Aphasia on the show. I
Well,
love them. First of all, I didn't realize.
So let me get this straight. Voices of Hope for Aphasia.
Yeah.
Isn't that a little bit oxymoronic?
Yeah.
Speak out for aphasia.
Yeah. Voices of, but I'll tell you, I met this gentleman and he had a business card and it says, "I am not drunk and I am not stupid. I have aphasia."
Correct. And oh my gosh. And I have
because that's what they think of. Because aphasia, like many times with dementia, you look just fine.
Correct.
You look absolutely fine. And then something really weird comes out of your mouth, or you can't even say words.
Or the words that come out are completely wrong because they're just disconnected in your brain. Yeah. And I've had many clients with aphasia from different sources. Strokes are a big issue for me on that. And I tell you, we are so
it's hard.
We are so trained that what's coming out of the mouth is how we judge somebody and how the words that are coming out of their mouth. And all of a sudden they can't come out of their mouth, and all of a sudden you go right to, he's crazy, or he's demented, or no, my brain and my mouth are just disconnected. So it's nice having those cards. We have some in our waiting, we have dementia cards in our waiting.
Because when people know better, they
take
do better.
These and hand them out.
Yeah. Because the server will treat you better, the person in the store will treat you better. Whoever it is.
Communication. And here's another thing: when you're dealing with this issue, and from a caregiver's perspective, I always try to encourage my clients to really approach it from what I call a position of matter of fact. It's just a matter of fact. We don't have to bring in the emotional and the psychological side of this, because that's not going to help you or the person you're taking care of. It's just a matter of fact. He's got Alzheimer's. It's just a matter of fact. Okay. We don't have to, he's not a bad person. It's not weird. It is what it is. It's just a matter of fact. We don't have to get all crazy about it. It's once you start dealing with it from a matter of fact perspective. And I know that seems to sound so obvious. It's not, but then that really does set you free. It really makes it a lot easier.
Because the thing is, there's a whole grieving process. People are grieving already. They're grieving the loss. This is not how my life was supposed to be. This wasn't what we were supposed to be doing, kind of thing.
And that matter of fact thing helps you get across that gap, because otherwise you just keep picking at the scab. It never gets better. It's just the same. It's rinse and repeat. But matter of fact allows you to get across the gap to the point of, okay, it is what it is, and let's manage it.
Well, I look at a lot of people. You see people that take care of disabled children.
Yep.
That they have to be matter of fact.
Yep, exactly.
This child has been born this way. Yep. No one can take care of this child except for me.
Yeah, really good analogy. I agree.
Like hook it up. Just hook it up.
But let's talk about this conference again, because this thing is super cool. It's not just one person talking on Tuesday.
There's 18 people.
There's 18 different presentations.
When is that Sean Scott going to be on?
Well, of course.
Sean's always on Wednesday. And May 7th, because 7 is a lucky number.
But early in the
At
morning.
9 a.m.
Yeah, well, that's so sorry.
Lynn, what the heck, girl?
There's a
How
fabulous
are you
thing
partying these days? It's 9 o'clock. I can make it. I swear.
The entire conference is.
And I'm going to do it from my bedroom.
Is recorded. It's recorded. So I don't expect anybody really to sit there all 3 days and for 18 speakers, because I am producing it and I have a hard time doing it.
I understand. But you can drop in for the ones that you want. Yeah. And then also afterwards, if you've registered,
you receive all the recordings within 30 days for free.
For free, for nothing. And so you can watch it at your leisure. And I'm telling you, this is some great stuff that you're not going to get this information really from any place else, and definitely not in such a great format.
Yeah, we're going to talk about caregiving without burnout.
Yep.
We're going to talk about navigating the life care continuum. We're going to talk about caregiver guilt. Woohoo! That's a big one.
That's a big one. Huge.
Every afternoon at lunchtime, we will have Cindy and Christina from AE Corner, which is adaptive equipment. So they're going to show us the latest and newest wheelchairs or adaptive clothing.
I was hoping they were going to play music or something and entertain us during lunch.
They do a little entertainment too. Well, I do entertaining through the entire conference.
So when I do this, I'm going to have a lunchtime session where it's just somebody singing with a guitar.
Let's do some stand-up comedy instead.
Okay, well, I can. All right, I'll do it.
I think we need to have a conversation on that. Like,
Entertaining you for lunch
like,
will be Sean Scott.
I could be your mother. You could be taking care of me.
That would be good. That would be good.
It would be so damn funny.
Yes, we
Um,
can make that fun.
But yeah.
Did you talk to them about the new stair that you don't have to install to go upstairs?
No, I haven't looked at the whole thing, so tell us about it.
I don't know, but it's something that you can go. You know those things that it carries you
The
up the
lift chair?
stairs.
Yeah, of course.
No, now there's something you don't install, and I've sent Linda pictures. I don't know how it works though.
It's magic.
It's magic, right? It
But
comes
the
in a
thing
little
is-
bottle. You have to rub it, and it comes out like a genie.
It looks quite interesting.
But yeah, it doesn't. And so a lot of those things, we address those things in the conference.
Right.
We have Urban Polling who has walking poles, which
Oh,
is
right,
helping
cool.
a lot
Right,
with.
sure.
I love them. They send me
Yep.
these 2 nice
Yep.
poles. I really like
They
that.
can be helpful for sure.
And then we have Dr. Kate McCarty, and she's going to talk about, some of the personal and sexual things that go on during dementia.
And when is
And
that?
some of the things that Kate will be on Thursday at 10 o'clock.
Len, gosh,
Uh,
I was just trying to make sure we knew what the time and date was.
and then we have Chrissy Yates, Thriving in the Sandwich Generation. So we got a bunch of really good stuff. But something else I want to talk about, Parkinson's. We are very blessed in this little area we have here in Seminole and Largo and Clearwater
Yep.
to have the Palms of Largo. And
Great-
the Palms
great
of Largo
organization.
has
Yep.
fabulous Parkinson's programs. So they have Rock Steady Rock Steady Boxing.
How's that
And-
aphasia coming along
Yeah.
there?
And I've seen people that take these classes and I've seen the improvement, or not even the improvement, just the stabilization of their Parkinson's.
I have multiple clients that are participating in that program right now, and they really report back that it's such a great thing for them to have this movement and this kind of training, and this it just keeps them focused on it, and it's fabulous.
And not to be there alone.
And you get to beat up your best friend.
Yeah. and not to get to be there alone though. So,
Correct.
and then they also have a Parkinson's emotional and educational support group.
Yeah.
Because when you go to these places and you bring your loved one, you also find support for yourself. Because you're there with other caregivers that are going through the same thing.
I cannot stress how important this caregiving thing and this caregiving journey is, to look out and have some support from some other places. You're not rowing this boat by yourself.
No.
Okay. And it can sometimes feel like that very much. And help and insight is literally just around the
Well,
corner.
unfortunately, we isolate ourselves.
I understand. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the support group thing, it's not mamby-pamby or anything like that. Nobody's sitting around crying on each other's shoulders. That is not what it is.
We were
Okay?
laughing hysterical this morning on my
absolutely.
Zoom support group.
Yeah. And you can do it different. You can do it by Zoom virtually.
Yep.
You can do it in person now because we're at post-COVID.
Yep.
And you're doing what's this journaling thing that you do?
So my
'Cause that's
journaling
really
workshop was
cool.
yesterday,
Yeah.
and that's kind of a different thing for caregivers, because that's the caregiver that says, I don't want to go to a support group. So I said,
Yeah,
just
because
come and do
again,
some-
I'm
yeah, it doesn't fit me,
Stop
whatever.
crying. Yeah.
So I'll just throw out a prompt, let's say, and maybe the prompt is, I remember when, and they start journaling, and if they want to share, they can share on it. And all of a sudden somebody will say, I remember when I could still have a good conversation with my husband.
Right, exactly.
And then somebody else goes, yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
And
It's-
so-
that journaling thing is super cool.
But
What
between
you
the
do.
journaling and the support group, it's just making friends.
Yep, absolutely.
It's just, I said last week, one of the last support groups, a woman came in and she was just hanging her head, so sad. And all of a sudden she said, her husband threw the vacuum cleaner at her.
Yeah.
And one of the other women goes, so did my husband. Yay. And they both felt better. Because
No, absolutely.
neither of them their husbands would have ever done
Yeah,
that.
all of a sudden, it's not a one-off, and it's not this horrible thing. Apparently, this happens all the time.
Right.
Welcome to the vacuum cleaner club.
Right.
Right? Yeah, I
Right.
agree.
So my husband threw the walker at me.
Yeah,
Really?
it's forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
but-
you deserve it?
Well, probably. I did disconnect the battery from his car. Well, your husband did it for me. He was going to go driving.
Yes,
Yeah, I
we know
think
this
that's not
problem.
good.
We know
So
this
he
problem.
threw that at me, and then the police came.
Yep.
And they said, Mr. Thornley, you can't do that.
No.
And he said, oh, he says, officer, I didn't. The cop says, there's 5 witnesses. I said, well, officer, it's the only weapon I had.
Our husband
He
was
didn't
in
have
the
a
car.
vacuum.
Dan, we have to write this down for our comedy bit.
Yeah.
Seriously, if Linda and I are going on the road,
Her husband was
old
in
people
the car, and
comedy,
I'm telling
we
you.
need to capture these.
Oh, I
jokes.
got lots
This
from
is
him.
good.
Yeah.
He called the cops on me many a time because I was an imposter.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, that's the story.
You only can wear one set of clothing. I feel bad for caregivers. If I change my clothes, He thinks I'm somebody else.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've had a spouse tell me this exact same story, but in different, obviously with different people. Hey, baby, yeah, honey, what? You gotta leave. Well, honey, why do I have to leave? Because my husband's coming home soon. And she's talking to her husband.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And some husbands can roll with it.
Yeah, and rolling with it is the best way to
and
go.
And other ones are like,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. It's roll with it. Go downstream. Never.
And we need to do that with people. You know, I remember there was this gentleman years ago that came to my support group, and his wife was in a community.
Right.
And she got a boyfriend.
Yeah.
She got a boyfriend, and he was not the boyfriend type.
Yep.
But he loved her so much that he accepted it. And I would go there, and they would have entertainment. And she'd be sitting there, and the boyfriend would hold her hand on this side, and her husband would hold her hand on the other side. And I thought, what a big man he is.
Yeah, very big.
To go,
big,
and what a lucky girl she is.
And no kidding, because now she's got 2 boyfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very cool.
But he was a fabulous man. He came to my support group one day, and he said to me, that he says, "Did you ever hear of this song, Queen of the House?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, this show, that song, King of the Road, came out,
right?
And my wife wrote a song about our family,
Queen of the House,
Queen of the House, and part of it, it was like she was pregnant with like their 5th child, and it's like there's a bun in the oven, whatever."
That's
well,
great.
They never had a copyright or anything. They sent it to Nashville, and somebody else
and wrote it.
Took it.
That's great.
And he was like, "Oh my God,
that's my song.
If I could ever hear that song again, like it would mean so much to me." Well, I started searching and searching and searching. It took me a while. And then that day, the perfect 45 record came in the mail.
Right.
I was like so happy.
Queen of the House.
Has a record player, so I gave it to this guy, and he made it on a whatever, thumb drive or whatever. Well, the only time this man's wife was still really connecting with him at the community was on the day the music man came. He would come and play the music.
Interesting.
So he came. So we planned this whole thing, and we made a shadow box with the 45 record in it, and we contacted his children. We got pictures of them when they were younger, around the time, and made this like whole shadow box thing. And we played the music, and we sent the boyfriend on a field trip that day, and invited her kids.
Right.
And they're playing music for like an hour, and then all of a sudden they go any requests, and somebody says King of the Road, and they play King of the Road anymore, and then This Is God. The man just says, "Oh, I wish I could hear Queen of the House."
Really?
Bang.
Boom. There you go.
The song comes on, and she was sitting like this with her head down.
Really?
And she just got up, and I could cry now, and they danced. The most beautiful dance.
That's great.
And the people in the community were like, "Oh my goodness, you wrote a song?" Because everybody has a story.
Yep.
And after that community started celebrating what those people did before. So there was some woman who was like the donut queen of Chicago. So they let her go in the kitchen and make her donuts with her family. Because everybody has a story.
Very
and I just
cool.
remember that was like one of the most fun things.
Yep.
And unfortunately, he passed away before her. He burned out.
Yep.
He burned out. And we see that every day.
Yep. Classic, unfortunately. Yeah. So.
But you know what? They spend time together. And I want to tell you that's the most important thing on this caregiving journey is spending time with your loved one. It's not the medicine. It's not the pooping, the peeping, and everything else. It's just spending time together. But to continue to spend time with us here today, we need to hear from our wonderful sponsors. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week, so check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library for support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing the Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Superpatch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Superpatch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we are back. Yeah, we were just talking about some of the scams during the commercials that have been going on lately. Be very careful. I feel like I don't trust anything anymore. I always stop and I say no and let me backtrack and see if there's another way I can verify it.
Yeah, and be very cautious. I've seen an uptick in my own email boxes and in text messages as well, because they're getting through the text message thing. We were talking over the break about some of mine that I get. It's just this says hi.
Yeah,
and that's the hook. And you're like, hi, who is this? And so you click on it, and now down the rabbit trail you go. You start having a conversation with this person over text, and next thing you're $100, $200, $300,000 later late.
And think of how many people are sitting home all by themselves. They have no one
very,
else to
very
talk
easy
to.
and trusting and without question.
Yeah.
So be careful.
Well, that's what I said when I met with Officer Quattlebaum, the senior services police officer. He said right now it's back to the biggest one is the love scams, because people are so darn lonely.
Yep.
So you know what? If you know your aunt or your grandma or something is lonely, go hang out with them. And if they want to spend some money, let them take you out to dinner or do something. Don't let them be giving it to some people.
A client last week, within the last 2 weeks, over $100,000 she gave to this guy.
Oh my God.
100%. And this is, you think
she gave it to him?
Yep. Well, he was like, it was a good idea at the time, apparently, and it's gone.
Yeah. Okay. Some woman in Bel Air, 535.
Yep. And
we don't know how much Jack gave away.
No, this one guy, they told him that, he won how many millions of dollars and he had to pay this $40,000 fee, right?
Right.
So he sells his mobile home for $43,000.
Right.
He sends them $40,000. Now he has $3,000 and he's homeless.
Yep. And you think to yourself, well, that guy's just dumb. No. I'm not dumb. That would never happen to me. No. Yeah. Well, check your six, because
I know some very intelligent people that have been scammed.
And sometimes it's this,
that are not seniors,
but that are smarter. Sometimes, absolutely.
They're not seniors either.
Yeah, no,
they've just been scammed for $5,000 here, $5,000 there.
And the people that are doing this are really, really good
Brilliant
at what they do, and it's hard to not get sucked in.
And they're usually in another country, so you can't even prosecute.
Oh no! And the later 60 Minutes did a huge expose on this, where the cartels down in Mexico are actually running some of these scam situations, and they have people that they have hired working for them, and they've set up offices. And you call back to the office, so like, let me just call you back. What's your number? You give them the number, you call back, and you call back to the fake office. Yeah. It's super sophisticated, and
they have websites and everything.
Exactly. So be careful.
Yes, just be careful.
Yeah.
So it's been wonderful having you all here today. If you have not registered for the conference, please go to connectingcaregiversconference.com. One last question, Sean. Yes. If anybody has a fear with elder abuse, how do they call?
The easiest in Florida, state of Florida's made it very, very, very easy. 1-800-96-ABUSE. It's an abuse hotline. You can call in, and whether it's financial, physical, mental, emotional, duress, whatever.
It could be
that
your
is,
neighbor, it could be anybody.
It's
Please.
100%. You are protected when you make the call. You're never disclosed that you're the person that did it. You don't have any fear to do that. And what happens then is it kicks in an investigation to see if something bad's going down. And in many cases, it is. Sometimes it's not. But
and in many
better
cases,
safe
maybe
than
somebody
sorry.
just needs some help too.
No,
Unfortunately, it's a little backward way to get the help, but
it's don't be afraid to do that if indeed you see something.
Yeah.
If you
What's the
suspect
number
it.
again?
I think it's 1-800-96-ABUSE. It's
1-800-96-ABUSE. And please be friends with your neighbors. Talk
Yeah,
to your neighbors,
be
let
nice.
them know
Just
what's
be
going
nice.
on.
Yes.
Yeah, because they want to
absolutely.
help you and you want to help them, because when people know better, they do better. So tune in next week for another great show. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.
Delicious.